Holy crap. Got a lot of snow here. Trying to make sure the camera doesn't get fucking blocked by the jacket. But, what's up guys? Got a little bit of a blizzard going over here. It's pretty cool. Pretty neat. Wanted to kind of yap today. It's gonna be a little bit less of like my journey, more of just kind of like my thoughts kind of video, which I also want to include in both my YouTube channel and my TikTok page that I've just made, which I'll be posting on in short time. But I had this really interesting conversation with two of my best friends yesterday. Now, my two best friends, I should say. I feel like that's a more fair way to say it. And that's talking about ADHD. And I was able to kind of notice patterns almost. And that's the thing about ADHD, which I am diagnosed with, if you didn't know. It's that you have this really high pattern recognition. And there's something out there, I remember reading it, saying that people with ADHD back in like 2,000 years ago, when you needed to hunt for your food instead of going to Walmart, they would be the hunters because they would not only be able to silence out noise, for example, which my friend Tyler does with a radar detector, when the KA bands beep 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 beep, he just doesn't hear that shit at all. You know, he can silence that noise, but also be really aware. Like I saw that kind of, I don't even know, dust of snow, I guess, while I'm hearing this, while I'm hearing the wind. You know, I'm able to, I see that moving. I'm able to kind of pick up a lot while it's all happening. And if you don't have ADHD, I'm not saying that you're any lesser. You're just, if anything, it's a lot quieter and it's a lot easier in a sense. It's a lot more linear to kind of think. And with ADHD people, my friend Tyler and I, we talked about this because we both have ADHD. Our thoughts almost kind of branch, so I'm gonna kind of try to visualize it here. So you have a thought, right? And then that can lead to another thought. However, that same thought can, like, or sentence maybe, can lead to this thought because, oh, I burped while talking about it. Oh, I burped while talking about it. Blah, 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 blah. Let me get back to my point over here now. And then this point does the same thing where it branches off maybe the two major points. You know, like a tree. You see, we have bigger branches here that lead off into shorter branches. The bigger branches are the more important main ideas, while the shorter branches are kind of the lesser main ideas, but ideas that are still relevant to the branch because they're still connected, you know? And you're able to travel throughout this, go back in time. And this made me think, in a religious sense, in the sense of Christianity, in the sense of God, that people with ADHD are given the ability to have a much higher flow of conversation with God, you know? But when you're conversating with God in your head, you allow the devil to contest. You allow temptation to contest. And this is very relevant. Both my friend Tyler and I talked about how, you see how I just turned around and I noticed that sound, so I was like, oh, wait, let me like assess. And you see how I'm branching off what I'm talking about right now? Everything I'm talking about leads back to what my point that I'm trying to bring. You know, this is just a smaller branch of my conversation. But you allow for this contest almost. And you have the ability to choose. That is our divine power on this materialistic world. We have the power of choice. You know, the devil can no longer choose because he made his choice. He made his choice to leave God, to leave heaven, and to fall down into all these sins, right? But we are still in this middle ground. We're in this battle, this spiritual war, which mainly occurs in our head with thoughts, you know? With me, it happens a lot with like smoking, for example, you know, like, oh, I want to hit my vape really bad. I'm not gonna right now because I shouldn't, but it could happen with drinking, it could happen with drugs, You know, it can happen with driving habits. It can happen with anything. Literally anything. And it is the most amazing feeling when those branches are all related to God. This is the most beautiful feeling ever, and it's like you're having a conversation with God. I kind of fully understood that last night, because I had 2 hours where I was just thinking to myself. I was meditating or praying or whatever you'd like to call it, where I was having this conversation with God. Jesus. Hello.
What's up, man? You alright?
I'm just walking.
Oh, all good.
Have a nice day, bro. That was kind of funny. You alright? Yeah, dude, I'm just walking. I'm having a conversation with myself. And where was I? I know I was talking about... Oh, I was saying it was cold as shit. That's probably what I was saying. I'm gonna walk this way away from the wind. But it's the most beautiful feeling when you have that full-on conversation with God and you don't have any temptation in your head. There's nothing saying, oh, I want to smack my cart, or I want to hit the vape. You know, like when that is all silenced out, all that background noise, all that materialism, and it's just a conversation about knowledge, truth, and wisdom, and you're asking questions that are proactive whilst getting answers that are just mind-blowing. It's the most beautiful thing ever. So, what is my point here? There's two types of people, in my opinion. I mean, I guess you can think about bipolar, schizophrenics, and like all that other stuff. But I'm thinking about the point in ADHD and people without ADHD. People with ADHD are able to have a much higher flow of connection with God, in the sense that we're able to branch off into these beautiful trees of just knowledge and just everythingness. But we can also kind of, in this example with the snow right now, kind of be lowered by it. You know, it's bringing us down. It's hurting us in a sense. Whilst you have more, I want to say normal, because they're not normal. No one's normal. But you have people without ADHD. You kind of think about it as like a tree pole almost. Or a fucking telephone pole, excuse me. Where it's a linear thought. Oh! That's funny. Where you kind of have this thought of, damn, that was just people in a grade above me. That was kind of trippy. Where you have like you have a goal, and then you have an outline, or you have a thought, and then you have, it's like a sentence almost, you know? You don't see sentences branching off of each other, because then it would be so hard to read. It would be so hard to understand that thought process, which is why a lot of times ADHD people are misunderstood when speaking, thought of as hyperactive or distractive in a sense, you know, because there's so much going on. There's so many thoughts, and when they're not answered, or they're not, and you're called crazy, or you're just told to shut up and be silent, and you suppress those thoughts, that's when the temptation can really take control. And I think that's where our schooling system kind of fails a lot of us. However, that's a completely different topic. That's a different branch in this sense. But this doesn't mean that anyone's better than anyone because you have ADHD or because you don't. It just means that you're either a telephone pole or a tree. And both are beautiful in my opinion. You know? Because the telephone pole is really just a tree without branches. They're both beautiful. They're both alive in my idea. You know, maybe one has roots, which is a completely separate thing. But they're both wood at the end of the day. They're both the same thing. You know? Just one has a lot of smaller wood branching off of it. But that's pretty much my yap for today. Gotta edit this shit now. Oh my god, I just ate shit. Everyone have a great rest of your day. God bless y'all. Hell yeah. I don't know why I just did that.